Thank you for watching my revision, or as I look into what I want to revise in the textbook I wrote to teach homeschoolers world history. Bible Believer Looks at World History, which I sell on Amazon. But I'm looking over and want to think about things that I want to dig deeper into or maybe change. So let's pick it up where we left off. Egyptian religion didn't have much to say about morality. It had more in common with the Vatican religion of the Dark Ages. Even the famed Book of the Dead, which was no more than scraps of funerary paper and prayers found inside coffins, taught only that charms blessed by the clergy would overcome all obstacles that the dead would encounter on the way to salvation, as Durant says. The priests sold charms, mumbled chants and incantations, and practiced magic rather than promoting personal morality. There's much information to show that a great deal of the Roman Catholic Church's ritual comes directly from Egyptian religion. Ikhnaton had just become pharaoh when he began to revolt against the established religion and the practices of its priests, much like a Buddha revolted against the irrelevance of Hindu ritual and Martin Luther rebelled against the excesses of the Catholic Church. Durant tells us that in the great temple of Karnak, there was a large harem, supposedly concubines of the great god Ammon, sort of like nuns, but in reality were often merely for the amusement of the clergy. Ikhnaton rebelled against these excesses. He announced that there was but one god, Aton. As Akbar did in India thousands of years later, he saw all divinity in the sun, S-U-N. No one knows if he took this idea from the Canaanites, where the god Aton was another form of Adonis, who, if you connect the mythologies, still winds up being a form of Satan, giver of knowledge. In a religious fervor, Amenhotep IV changed his name to Ikhnaton, meaning Aton is satisfied. He composed hymns to Aton. He recognized that there was a God above all nations, but unfortunately for him, he identified this God as being the sun itself, S-U-N. See here Satan's genius in perverting the worship of the true God and counterfeiting all that is truth and mixing it with enough error to send men and women reeling drunkenly into hell on a wave of religious ecstasy. Calling the sun in the sky the Lord of love and the tender caregiver who creates the man, child, and woman and fills the two lands of Egypt with love, he created in it a tender but counterfeit God the Father who rules all of Egypt. And for the first time, rather than being only a god of Egypt, the Egyptians were forced to worship a god of all the world. Now, Ikhnaton had all the names of other gods erased from monuments, closed temples, dispossessed the wealthy priesthood, moved his capital. Artwork was created to validate his vision of the Godhead. Innovations in art were made during Ikhnaton's reign, such as greater realism and emotion in depictions of people, along with exaggeration of some features and curvilinear contouring of the bodies. This was known as the Amarna period, after his capital at Tel Amarna, which he moved from Thebes to get away from traditional priestly corruption. Rather than produce an heir, he remained faithful to his wife, Nefertiti, who produced 7 daughters but no son to succeed him. He refused to come to the aid of tributaries in Syria, but being invaded and destroyed. He loathed to send Egyptian sons to die in alien land. The Egyptian treasury, which depended on foreign tribute for its great wealth, began to dry up. Durant tells us that almost in a moment, Egypt ceased to be an empire and had shrunken back into a small state. The colonies revolted and he died broken at around the age 30. His son-in-law, Tutankhamun, was the famous King Tut. So I'm going to stop there and we'll pick it up next and continue talking about Egypt. Very interesting stuff anyway to me. I hope that if you feel like you want to correct something I said or you don't like something I said, just provide your citations so I can learn from what you've learned. All right. I thank you for watching this today.